In this video, we're going to talk about political parties. Political parties are a group of people that compete in elections to try and win power and take control of the government. On a more analytical level, political parties perform some important functions. Interest articulation and aggregation. Well, what does that mean? Well, articulation is to take a position on an issue. Political parties will go through a list of issues, taxes, national defense, healthcare, pick a position on that issue. And then they will aggregate, they will bundle those issues into a single platform and offer that to voters as a choice. A good analogy would be a shopping cart. Political party will choose things to put in their platform and then offer that as a choice to voters. Voters don't get to choose individual items, they get to choose between different shopping carts. Now, within that framework, there are a couple different types of political parties. They can be oriented around specific ideas or philosophies. One type of political party is called a brokerage party. Their job is to appeal to as many people as possible. They want very broad appeal, and they're seen as much more pragmatic. They're not really dedicated to a certain issue or philosophy. They will say whatever it takes to get elected. They just want to appeal to as many people as possible. And so the items in their shopping cart might be pretty diverse. A good example of a brokerage party, a classic brokerage party, would be the Liberal Party of Canada. They try and seek mass appeal, and then the criticism would be, well, they don't stand for anything. And well, that's kind of what a brokerage party does. It is fluid. It will do whatever the voters want in order to get elected. Other political parties make much more narrow appeals to the electorate. And these would be a specific appeal to a given worldview or philosophy. These are called ideological parties. They're committed to an ideology. And they're very committed to those outcomes. They want to win control of the government because the elections are a means of them advancing their worldview, of changing society or changing the government. And so by definition, this will be a much narrower segment of the electorate. A good example here would be in Canada, the Social Democratic New Democrat Party, the NDP, they're an ideological party. In the United States, the Republican Party, very narrow focus, very committed to ideological outcomes, not really much room for moderation or dissent in the party, very specific appeal. Another example would be a single issue party. And a single issue party would try and target individual voters that are committed to one specific issue. And mathematically, it's really tough to win an election because what are the odds that most of the voters will share your preference for that one single issue? And as such, the goal of a single issue party is often not to win. They just want to be in the race to highlight their issue and to raise awareness for it. If you're a party in the United States, the Green Party, for example, a single issue party with the environment as their one issue, they're never going to win. But by being in debates with the other candidates, they can get their message out there and maybe force the other candidates to talk about their issue. In Canada, the Wexit Party, later the Maverick Party, their single issue was to separate the West from Canada. The Bloc Québécois, single issue, look out for Quebec's interest. That's all. The Rhinoceros Party is a party, it's a farcical party. Their goal is to inject humor into the electorate, into the elections, and to make everybody realize how absurd of a process it is. So these single issue parties often aren't going to win, but they do want to raise awareness of their issues. So just to recap, political parties, interest articulation and aggregation. They organize choice for voters to make it easier. It's an information shortcut. It's taxing to gain all the information at election time, but by sorting into political parties, it is easier for voters to make a decision. Different types of parties within that. There are brokerage parties, ideological parties, and single issue parties.